Welcome back, everyone, to another day of streams. Oh, we got quite a few people already here. Jesus, you guys are all so early. Not that early, actually. Only 7 minutes. Hey Kurt, Andrea, Jack, Phobic, the usual. Nate. Sinful Turpy, have I seen you guys before? Probably. Yeah, welcome back, guys, to another live stream. Just breaking down gold again, yeah. Zoom link has been sent. Yo. Who's trading Asian session later? Yeah, she's doing good. Results came back as like no issues, so basically fine. I'm just gonna wait for another around 5-6 minutes and then we're gonna get started. But as usual, the analysis, it's still a little bit laggy actually. As usual, the analysis is just all the way from monthly down to, I would say we don't really look at the 5 and the 15 when it comes to levels. 30 to like all the way from 30 to monthly is pretty good. Do I trade all sessions? No, at the moment, because I have like a full-time job, so I can't really trade Asian during London time, because that's like 2-3 a.m. And I have to get up at like 9 or like 8:30 or something. And then I would say for London, I still kind of do want my sleep, so I just kind of trade New York for now. Unless it's like there's a really late London move or like a pre New York move, then maybe. But besides that, not really. Is the music volume okay, guys? Just wanted to check it's not too loud or anything. Nice. Sounds good. Yeah, just another 5 minutes and we'll get started. We have enough people, to be honest. Could get started, but it's a promise that we'll start at half 10, right? So we'll just wait it out. Gold is driving low. Look at these. No bottom wicks. No bottom wicks. Daily's gonna close with no bottom wick, right? Yeah, I just caught Don's trade really. I had a sell earlier, like before Don, towards like these areas, like a sell here, like around these areas, I think 30 something. I saw around 30-40 pips, but then I was like, okay, if this wants to run, I'll just let it run. And then I got hit break even. I think I lost 10 pips in total, but besides that was the only thing I really caught. And then it started ripping up, right? If I didn't get out break even here, I would have gotten out break even here, so it's all good. Yeah, like also the analysis yesterday, like if you got into those sells at like what 30 odd or whatever, yeah, like you had opportunities to exit. Yeah, I don't know if it was exactly whatever, but around like 20-30 pips I think in profit total, so not bad. Probably should close full next time. We caught the 27 pipper today with Don, right? Wrong link was sent on Zoom. Fork. Let's see if that works. Is it the same link? Oh, I sent a trading view link. Apologies. nah, I'm not getting paid by Don, right? Like, I'm doing this. I don't want to be an employee. I want to be at the same, you know, level, evolving with him, helping him as he's helped me, right? I'm in this for the long run, and as a long run inner, being an employee is just it's just not the way forward. Yeah, okay, we have some people on the Zoom now. Sick. Yeah, I would like to trade full time in the future, but we'll see. We'll see if that happens. If I get the opportunity, right? If it's fully profitable and I can like fully commit to it, then yeah, that's great. Then I just look at the charts all day. That's exactly what I want to do. I fucking love trading. Yeah, so I do like, I'm like quite a startup person as well. So I'm looking into some other startup stuff and with a couple of my friends as well. So yeah, when that comes out, I'll have more information, but we're still at the ideation phase. We just sold off our last business, so just kind of going back to like step one and just ideating again, building that up again, but it'll happen and see what we can get. But yes, okay, cool. Guys, I am going to start the I'm going to start the analysis. Yeah, cool. Yeah, so obviously click the monthly button, right? What is the price doing? I think we broke the highs. We definitely broke the highs. 1962 we tapped. So again, there is still some range left for gold, right? If you're understanding that gold price is kind of in between here, right? At any given point, you fill the range, right? And if you do at this point, you make another decision, right? You are making a decision here, and you're making a decision here, right? You're understanding this is the full range. So we broke down ages ago, you know, like earlier in the month, and also for the previous month, price could have come down, tap this range, and after that, it's going to make a decision, right? If it wants to reject here, if it wants to continue down, but this is a level it needs to make a decision at. It made its decision, it's coming up, so it's highly likely it's going to come and tap these ranges here now, right? And this range could be anywhere, you know, from like 1973 all the way to 1991. But we'll just watch price do that, and then we'll just get entries on the lower time frame. But understand you do have some range to fill, right? Your weekly has a bottom wick, so at any given point this flip could take us all the way up to 91, right? Maybe even slightly higher, right? If it breaks past 91, it might even take us to like 2017, right? All-time highs towards 2039, 2040, right? So that's what we're looking at, right? And especially with everything that's going on in terms of the world, the war and everything, price could very much, you know, start pushing and breaking those all-time highs. So daily, just getting straight into it, right? So daily we closed with no bottom wick. Does that really matter though? You have to ask yourself that. Like, with how aggro we were for the past kind of weeks and days, is price really going to slow down, right? We slowed down slightly here when we had no bottom, no top wick for the daily, came down, grabbed liquidity. It actually, you know, we could look at it in a couple ways. You know, you could say it's respecting here on this kind of overall smaller level here, but generally I would say you're respecting this, right? These levels here, there's some levels here, you faked out, came back up, respecting, you're respecting, right? So every time you come from these kind of areas up to here, you respect, you're just going to start driving up, and where are you going to tap next, right? You drove up, and you're tapping into these areas, right? 62, 58, and you've done that, right? So currently we are also at a point that price needs to make a decision at. So at these points around 54, I would say after you're driving up from 54, where you're going to go next, right? Because you could say we're now, right, we're closing above here, but also you could say we're respecting potentially these areas, but we're also closing above, say, like these areas here, right? So we've already filled this range. We don't know where price wants to go, right? We don't know in terms of, like, you know, does price have enough momentum to drive us past 54 on a breakout and then like a closure, and then start driving us up? Because every time you drive up or you break above, right, you fill this range, right? You broke up, filled up to here, break out, right, respecting here, bottom wick, filled up to here, right, and then that's just every time you first break back into this range, you fill the range. So what are we expecting, right? Obviously the daily didn't close above, so at this point we can't expect it to fill up to 1982 yet, but this might happen in the next coming days, the next couple weeks, right? But this is the range that will likely get filled, right? Because we're so bullish at the moment. And once that happens, right, it's going to align well with our weekly and our monthly, filling the rest of the range before it comes to tapping 1991 to make that decision. All right, so everything's aligned at the moment. If we go on to the smaller time frame now, right, we'll see that we had a 4-hour bottom wick, you know, for the previous candle. It just broke, flipped, and closed bullish, right? Closed bullish. Let's see where above. Is there a zone around here potentially? I'll need to have a look in detail, but it's looking like something around here, right? I mean, I would have it slightly higher, but you could say you are potentially respecting this area, right? But you're respecting this area after having tapped all the way into 62. What is that next range up? Let's have a look, right? Tapping into these areas, right? Even this potentially, right? As your next range up. So, actually not all the way that, but like around these areas, yeah. So now that you've basically tapped and filled this entire range, right? Because you can just put this down a little bit, and it's like kind of in these similar areas, right? Here, you know, you have some fake outs here, potentially respecting here, right? So generally, now that you've filled the range, we don't really know where price wants to go. It's in a very much a indecision area at the moment. Your 4-hour did grab more liquidity, and you continued to you flipped bullish and you closed bullish, right? But you also closed bullish right at resistance, right? These resistance areas after having filling that entire range. So you're kind of in a range between 62 and I would say 42. So it's a massive 200 pip range, but we don't have any indication of where price wants to go at the moment, right? Last time the last time we pushed all the way up to here, we filled 62, came down, tapped around 45, right? 45 could have been potential buys, right? And you'll probably see it later on, like we'll have a look later on, 45.7 or 45.8, right? But we broke those and we came down to tap 42. So like, is this liquidity for us to go down, or are we breaking these lows for us to start, you know, changing to a more bearish kind of momentum? Because if we go down to the hourly or whatever, right, you can see, look, like if we were looking at 45.8, right? 45.8 is around these sorts of areas. 45.8, you could have taken around 17 pips if you got in, right? I'm saying if you got in, not necessarily that you would have got in, but if you did, potentially some pips for you there. But that's really risky, right? You've just come up, you've rejected after that top wick, started coming down, you're breaking these lows as well on a wick, right? So getting in that entry is slightly difficult, even though you're understanding that if it wants to continue to push up, it needs liquidity to go up. But because the day was so bullish in general, it's difficult to say where you could have grabbed that liquidity. But let's just mark up another potential range. So you're in a range between, I would say, if we go to the hourly, let's put this range here, 1944. What is this in terms of range? I'm pretty sure this is something. Let's have a look. It's not looking bad. Might be slightly lower towards around these areas. Yeah, this is not bad. So 44, right? So that's the kind of range we're in, from 44 to around 62. So when we break out of, let's look at price when it breaks out of these ranges and where it goes, right? So we're understanding we're very bullish at the moment, so let's look at buys first. Every time we got a buy after we were in kind of this range from 44 to 62. 44, 62, 44, 44, 62, right? We're here. Cool, right? We were bullish, so this is more of a bearish section, but I'll highlight this for now. All right, here kind of as well, like, you know, these areas we're kind of interested in because tap 62, you didn't break above, you were bullish, right? So you grab liquidity towards 45, 46, you started pushing up, right? So your next area of resistance they're rejecting at is looking like 71. All right, I'm looking at this massive wick here, right? So let's mark this up. Let's see where that is. I like this. 71.2 approximately. Other times we were in between 62 and 44, 62, 44, 62, 44. You could say kind of like these areas here, right? So when you broke above, right, grabbing liquidity, you started coming down. So yeah, okay, so these are, I would say, the main areas I'm looking at. This is slightly less, I'm less interested in because we've come up very bullish from like 18 odds all the way to here, which we haven't in this case, right? And we're slowly trickling down here in terms of the higher time frame. So I'm mainly looking at these areas. So if you were to get into any positions for buys, I wouldn't have any buy positions unless you start breaking these lows. Potentially your first buys are closer to like 1933, maybe even like 1920 something, because we're understanding that if price starts pushing down, we've already broken 1946 because we're in the range between 44, right? So we've already broken this low. So at any given point, because price didn't flip and it's not driving up, right, we're actually coming down. So this might not be a liquidity grab. This might not be a liquidity grab for us to go up. This might be a change of structure for us to start coming down. Right, and as that happens, we'll see it, right? You see this broke all the way down to around 38 sorts of areas. So if we start coming down, I would say you can probably start looking for breakouts. If it starts coming down, let's look on the 15 for where you would potentially get breakouts. I would need this low to be kind of break. I've been looking for breakouts below 35. Do I have a sell? Yeah, sells below. Oh wow, some nostalgia right there. But why do I have sells below there? So if we go back to the hourly, right, after we break below 35, and I'll probably adjust 35 later on, but every time we get a closure, I would say we're about, I'll probably be here actually. So once we get a closure here, I'm understanding this is the next range down, right? So when you get a closure here, you get a closure, you filled your next support, which is around 25 pips, right? All of these also, you get a closure, you filled. This one you filled even down to here. So this is probably your TP at 24 for about 100 pips. Stop loss is probably somewhere around. Stop loss is a difficult one, but you'll see you'll have a stop loss according to what the market structure is looking like and what the kind of overall structure is that will be printed during Asian, London, and New York, right? But I'm looking for these sells below here because I'm understanding that at some given point, right, because we've broken these lows, it could be, if we do come down, it could be an indication that price just wants to drop. And what am I going to be looking for in terms of like structure is this. So let's say price comes down, right, does this, ranges a bit, and then it just starts breaking below some level of confirmation and then down. So that's what I'm looking for. Does that kind of make sense, right? So because that's what I'm looking for, right? Sorry, not here, because here is still, you're kind of in the range. If you get this on the higher time frame, you might be able to get sells below here, but I think sells below here are probably cleaner. So let's look at sells to come down. So like wick entry sells potentially. So we're 62 to 1944, right? 62, 1944. I'm looking at this 71, right? Exactly similar to what we were looking for. So sells wicks here. You can look at this wick, right? This beautiful wick right here. And this is the top of your range, right? You tapped this range you rejected, right? Filled the range basically, and then you came back up, filled the range again, coming down before you were able to push up, right? Here you didn't fill the range, but you have wicks up to these areas, right? Indicating this is a strong level that you could be respecting. So I'm pretty happy with the wicks at 1971. And with kind of how bullish we were, and then now we're kind of slowing down in these sorts of areas. As we come up to here, if we get sort of like closures like this, and then like a range sort of like this, I'll look for kind of something respecting, like a bearish candle respecting this support, or maybe the support at 62, and then I'll look for that wick entry to come down, but understanding that I'm only going to be taking this move, because at any given point, once it taps 62, start flying up, right? Because that's just market structure. So still a very tradable range of 90 pips. I wouldn't lie, like 90 pips is pretty nice, I'm not gonna lie, yeah. So if that's my sell area, what are the kind of potential things that can happen leading up to those sells, right? So for example, if we start ranging, we start breaking, we're in this range, right? If we get a fake out on the hourly to come back up, and we're here, and it just kind of does this, we get a breakout, and I'll look for this, right? But most likely, if it's a breakout here, you're looking for this, I would still be exiting here, right? Another scenario is if you come back up, ranging here, right? Range below, right? And then you suddenly get respecting candle, something like that. And this, I wouldn't be looking for as high as this, because I'm confirming that, you are breaking below into a lower range. So generally, this could be a very high chance to be a fake out, right? And then I would say your third, which is the most optimal, I would say if this is the highest confidence trade you will probably get, is if you do this, range, come up suddenly, right? Come below, and then you take this entry right here. So you don't take the first highs, but you take this entry because you're understanding you've broken these lows now after grabbing liquidity, right? So if you understand the motion, if you understand liquidity, this breakout here is very significant, right? Breakout closure below 49, and you get that top wick tapping 49. If it goes up, you might get pineapples, but then we're looking for this to drive down towards around 34, and maybe if we're looking for kind of higher time frame moves, if it does retrace all the way because it's respecting this, right, we could be looking to tap these sorts of areas eventually, right? I would say your full TP is probably going to be 34 anyways, because that's the next level of like very aggressive rejection, these areas, right? Or potentially even like towards 39. But yeah, that is basically the analysis for that. I don't really have any buys because I'm understanding that when we got these buys, we're looking for breakouts and everything, but we're slowing down, right? We're slowing down quite a lot. We've filled this range, we've come down, broken a lot of these lows, right? If we're getting a buy, this would have been the buy to start going up and breaking above, but we didn't, right? So it just shows that, in terms of liquidity, we have liquidity to go up, but we're not going anywhere. So maybe this is just the rejection, and that's the beginning of the retracement to come down. Yeah, hope that kind of makes sense. Pretty straightforward analysis for tonight. Nothing too major. I would say the only thing to keep in mind for the sells or the sells here is it depends entirely on structure, right? If you start ranging in these areas, right, and then you suddenly get a closure below, it might be difficult, especially if you're showing signs of like bullishness as well, and then you kind of get a closure below. This could be a fake out to come back up, right? So it really depends on structure. And then also the sells here, if you're kind of trickling up slowly, right, then we can't look for 71, we might be looking for 82, right? But as that happens, you'll see it slowly getting printed over the next kind of like couple hours. Your Asian session is starting in like 2-3 hours, so yeah, just wait for Wix to start streaming as well. Look at what he's marking up, because that's your next tradable session, right? You can't trade this current time period between now and Asian because there's no volume in the markets. And yeah, but yeah, that's basically it, really. Not too complicated, but yeah, it's very dependent on price action. I would be worried to take anything, like, because right now this analysis is applying to current price, right? In an hour's time, in 4 hours time, this will be a completely different analysis. How the daily opens up will also change this analysis, right? So because of that, have your own kind of opinions of the market, listen to what Wix has in terms of his opinion on the market, and then make your own judgment. But currently, I would say these are the kind of areas I'm looking for. If you don't come and tap 71, right, and you start, slowly ranging up, and then you reject, you might have a completely different analysis at that point, right? For example, if you start ranging here, you're breaking these highs, right? Then I can't take a sell here anymore, because this could just be, a breakout to start going up, right? Then this might change into a breakout zone. But you'll see that happen as you go. Yeah, cool. That's basically the analysis. I'm gonna unmute some boys. See, Connor, you have like 2 accounts. Don't know which one you want me to mute, but I guess both.
My AirPods only work on my phone, not on my computer, but I'm watching on my computer.
Cool. Yeah, no worries.
I was gonna ask though, if we say ranged where we are now and then went in between 1934 and 1944, but we didn't have a closure above 1944, indicating no bullish movement. So then the sell below 1934 would be more valid. But if we had, say, a closure above 1944 before going down, then that would indicate bullish movement. So the sell at 1934 would maybe be a fake out, so it should be a buy. Is that what you're saying?
No. So for example, if you come down like this, right, and then you suddenly get this movement here, like above 44, I'd be looking out for this to be the fake out to come back into the range, and you're filling 34, because you haven't broken these highs here at 55. You haven't broken these highs at 62. Depending on, like you're saying, if it ranges here, right, and it doesn't break any of this, you've broken these lows, you're ranging here, right, potentially breaking these lows as well. Once you get that, and then you get this top wick, this could be a chance to get a wick entry to come down.
Oh, because that's liquidity to go down, basically.
Yeah, because you're understanding that in terms of the action, like price structure, right, you've come up, you haven't broken the highs, you've come down, you've broken the lows. So a top wick and then down. That's just a change in structure, right?
So if it was opposite and the closure below 1934 happened first, you might assume that was liquidity to go up.
So yeah, so that if it just ranges here, right, and then suddenly you get this, right, after not breaking anything, I'm worried, because I don't know if this has enough liquidity to start going down, right? So I'm worried at this point if this is just going to be a breakout to go below. So I wouldn't take my sells here, but I also wouldn't take buys, because I don't know what this like. It's looking bearish, right? You've closed bearish below 34, but you don't have liquidity, right? If you then come up to these sorts of areas, and then I'll be looking for the sells here, but as that happens, I'm only targeting here, because I'm understanding if it wants to start ripping up, it will do from 44.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Tom's here as well. Welcome, Tom.
Can you hear me right?
I might have to turn you up a bit, or can you speak a bit louder, mate?
Yeah, I can try to speak a bit louder.
Yeah, safe. Yeah. What's up? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. Any questions?
Yeah. So my question is, I sort of get the ideas about the advantage points and when we move our stocks to break even, but I'm sort of struggling at the moment to identify where I should be closing full at.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say if we drop down to the 15, there's a pretty good move actually. Okay, let's just say you took a breakout here, right? You're seeing that price is very bullish. There's a lot of momentum. You're gonna take a breakout. Let's say you took a breakout and you got in off the flip. Let's just say that. Okay, that's just our example, and then you have this stop loss at the bottom of this range, 100 pips, perfect stop loss, right? And then I would say your initial target, if you're looking at the 4 hour, where you're looking to target, maybe the top of this wick here, but like the next zone up, yeah. So around, I would say your next stop loss, like if you're breaking above here, your overall TP, I mean, you could put it at 62. Right, 62 here, but generally you're understanding that where's the next level of area of price that could reject. You're looking at 49, right? You're looking at this looking at this, you're looking at this fake out here, you're looking at these wicks potentially, right? So if you got into a trade around there, I would say your overall advantage point, I would even look on the 5, right? I don't know if we have enough data on the 5 to kind of evaluate that. And also my computer is very slow. But okay, I would see what this top of this range is. I'd look for 2 positions. Like I think 45 is pretty close to where our entry was, so we can't really use that as an advantage point. But our next advantage point is probably closer to 46 here, and then you also have one that's closer to around here. So I'm just looking at these 3 most recent price areas, right? So you'll be able to see that all of these areas will have some level of respecting, because they are levels on the smaller time frame. So if you got into a buy here, right, I would say look at which range gives you a good advantage point. I would say the first one doesn't, right, because you're how many pips in profit? You're like 4 pips in profit, right? So any given point is just gonna flip, and you're gonna be stopped out really easily. I would say your next one above here is okay. If you got in off this 5 breakout, right, and you got in here, then cool, you might have been able to use that first stop loss, that first level, right? Because that first level was around these areas, and that's around 10 pips, which is perfect, right? And then once you break those highs, you continue to break these highs, I'd be stop loss to break even regardless, because if you see this candle, this 5 had no bottom wick, right? So any given point it could flip, which it did, right? But in terms of looking to close full, once you have that, let's say this didn't happen, right? You're just pushing up. I'd be looking to close full towards the top of this range, which is at 47, or like at least 50% of my positions. Why? Because I'm understanding that if you're pushing up, okay, jeez, this is taking a while, but yeah, if you're pushing up, the last time price was in this kind of area, it rejected quite heavily at 47, right? And it started coming all the way down. So if this is your advantage point, right, you just understand that there's a high chance that price will make a decision here. Whether that decision be reject or continue, you don't know. But if you don't want it to come back to your break even, it's probably wise to close some percentage there or close full there, depending on how strong this support is, right? So if we're looking left, this was relatively okay. What is, let me just mark this out with the actual level. Yeah, so 47.3, right? So let's look at what this looks like on the 30. You could potentially, yeah, this is a pretty strong level here as well. So like maybe just slightly above here. I would be looking to close full around these areas, because I'm understanding last time you tapped these areas, you had a rejection multiple times as well, right? There's a strong bullish push, rejection, 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 you're coming down. And if you want to continue pushing up, you needed to grab liquidity towards these areas. So if you're up to these areas and you're understanding that, okay, it might reject here, where is it going to reject towards? Likely down to the next range, first at 44. If it wants to grab liquidity, potentially even towards 38. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I have an example from today that I took a buy, and I just wasn't sure whether it was like the right area to close full at. So is it alright if I like?
Yeah, of course. What was your level? What was your entry?
So I got buys. I marked up at 1954 with 567.
1954.
Yeah, 1954. 567, and it was at around 3 p.m. UK time.
1954. Yeah, so this candle here, right?
It was a 15 close respecting.
Yeah, so wait, so this was 1954 what?
54 567.
Okay, so around here. Okay. What was your stop? Do you remember?
Exactly.
Probably like below this.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, and what was your TP? Around 62, I guess.
So yeah. My TP was around 62.
Yeah. Okay. So
then I saw, so I just saw that the 5 resistance, and it just tapped into that. So I closed that 1958.63.
Yes, around these areas. Yeah,
Yeah.
basically at the closure of the next 5. Yeah, I would say it's a pretty good entry. It's a breakout, right? It's a breakout of this range.
It was the it wasn't quite that. It was like the 3 p.m. candle. So it's like the wick just after the breakout.
3 p.m.
Yeah. So you go on the 15, it's better to see the 15. These are the second, the first bearish candle closed, then that wick down. I got in on the wick down on the second bearish candle.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Oh, you got in here.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. That's an interesting one. Like, I would say it's difficult to take this position. Why? Because you had this very strong. First of all, you filled the range, right?
Mm-hmm.
You filled the range, so it's a high chance that you're going to come down to the range, and you might reject off of this area, right? So the first thing price does after it fills the range is either it continues to push through, or it fills the range back down. So if you're understanding that, taking the buy after it's filled the range, there's nothing left for you to take right here because it's already filled. So that's risk number 1. Risk number 2 is this was a very strong bearish closure, right? You closed bearish. The wick broke the previous wick, right? The body of the candle closed below the previous body as well, and you had a massive top wick here, right? So I would say getting in the buys here is risky because you're short term. You're pushing down, right? You have a bottom wick on this 5, likely on this 15 as well. Yeah, I mean, if you got out here, I would say that's a very good exit, mainly because I wouldn't have gotten this trade in the first place because of the whole range fill concept. If anything, I would have potentially looked for because there's not enough candles here being printed as well, right? All you have is kind of this rejection here, and then you had like 4 candles after that. So 20 minutes worth of candles, which is not a lot of data. But like, for example, it's like similar to this, right? Where you filled the entire range. Would you then take another sell here? Right? Like, you've just closed bearish, right? And then you filled the entire range down to 44. There's a high chance it won't come back and then just start going up. This could have been liquidity, right? That's why we didn't get into sells here, because we're understanding that, generally price is bullish. So if it taps this area, is it going to start going up? We don't know, right? It's already filled the range. So you wouldn't take a sell, like for example, like these areas. Obviously it worked out, but the overall concept of it is started going back up again, right? Yeah. So I would say this is risky. But if it's like something that makes sense to you very specifically, and like that's exactly the setup you're looking for, and you're testing it over time, then I would continue to test it with like a low lot size, like a 0.01, and then just see if it works over and over, right? And then maybe 2 years in the future, this is like your most like profitable trade. Who knows, right?
Yeah. Okay, thanks, man.
Yeah, no worries. Oh, we only have 2 people here today. Happy to take some chat questions. Let's have a look. I mean, unless Connor, do you have any more questions, or Tom?
Nothing at the moment, right?
I think Connor's also muted himself, but it's alright. Santos comes here every single night and says, "Good night, bro." I'm not sleeping right now, bro. Like, I'm still doing my analysis. Why do you want me to go to bed? Maui. He was looking for sells from 1948 till it taps 1943. 1948, so around these areas. You're looking for the sells to come down, tap 1943. This range, I would say it's difficult, right? You've already filled this range like once here. You've come down all the way to here, rejected. So at any given point, this could be... You're also very bullish, right? This could be a fake out. Start doing this. If it does that,
12.
then...
Zarzd. 1M.
Wow, I turned on voiced options. That was cool. But like, look at this, right? If this is your general bullish movement, you've grabbed liquidity here, right? If this fakes out back into here, then your sells are very invalid because it's just going to fill this range. And once it fills that range, with this liquidity, it's going to break out and it's going to continue up, right? And then at that point, we're looking for the sells around here. But those cells to come down to here is difficult. Also because you understand that generally, if we just go on the 4 hour as well, like, sure, you flipped, right? But you've closed bullish above here, right? You could retrace. You were looking for a retracement, but I would say in the short term, it depends what your stop loss is as well, right? If your stop loss is like all the way above 71, then yeah, that's fine, because it's likely to reject the 71 to start coming down. But yeah, as in like, yeah, just started streaming. Yeah. Don't forget to pee before you go to bed. Wow. Yeah, now I won't forget, man. Thank you very much. But yeah, look, you see, like this candle, the 4 hour, closed bearish, but respecting this. You're kind of respecting this kind of smaller range here, right? Probably respecting something here. So at any given point, it could start waking up to 55 before you start coming down. But for that to happen, I'll probably need a closure here. If not, right, you're respecting. I'm looking for that top wick here. If it does break out, then we're looking for smaller top wicks. Yeah, I mean, it's just higher risk trade. Doesn't mean it won't play out, right? You've come down first, right? So the daily might just come down and fill this range before going up. But understanding that this was a massive bottom wick, you've come up, filled the range, right? You could just start continuing bullish. But yeah, again, similar with Tom, just try it out. Like, if it's a trade that you've seen multiple times in the markets, try it. Like, there's nothing wrong with trying it with a very low lot size or with like a demo account, right? And then over time you'll get a better sense of if this trade plays out. 1948 holds well. 1948. What is this 1948 level you guys have? 1948. 1948 is a whole 10 pips, guys. I don't know which area of 1948 you guys are talking about, but I guess if it looks clean to you, then it's good. But yeah, it looks like nobody has any more questions. Jiwei, you're in Singapore. Jesus, it's 6 a.m. Asia. Oh yeah, I guess Asian session, right? Yeah, Connor, no worries. See you tomorrow. Thanks for coming around to the Zoom as well. Yeah, I can't wake up at like 6 to trade. At least not when I have like a full-time job. You trade, yeah, it makes sense, right? Yeah, no worries, Turpy. But like, look, right, if you wanted those cells, you know, you've just flipped on the daily. It's just you create a tiny bottom wick and now you're going up, right? You're generally very bullish. You've closed bullish above here, right? If you start pushing, like, you could break these highs and then you should, like, probably, if you break these highs, you'll probably see 71 get tapped. Yeah. What's my funded account size? Why does that matter? Is my 100 pip stop loss about 5% risk? No. My 100 pip stop loss is about 1 to 2%. Because I want to leave room for some pineapples. Funded's going okay. Like, no change in the funding amount. I was up 7% and then now I'm back down to 0%, but I have not gone into drawdown really, so. And like, you know, with days like this, I was taking a couple sells and then I had a whole meeting with Don just now, like for like, what, like 30-40 minutes, and then we were just kind of going through trades and stuff. Can I explain the whole wick thing? Like, if it doesn't have a top wick and closes green, so a bullish candle with no top wick, wouldn't that indicate a strong buy? If it doesn't have a top wick and it closes green, that's an indication of you have no range. So let me start drawing that for you. Like, if you're, oh, that's a little bit dark. If you're closing bullish like this with no top wick, what does this look like, right? What does this candle show you? So you opened here, came down, right, at some point, probably came up or like towards here, and then you just started pushing. these are your 4 parts of the candle. Say this is a 1 hour candle, each one of these is 15 minutes, right? So like each one of these, like you're seeing that you've made the higher high. Price can do two things: either it can come up or it can come down, right? But at this point you've already created that higher high, so it's more likely that you're going to come down, create that higher low if you want to continue driving up. So the chance of this candle just pushing up is less than if you had a top wick. In the case that you had a top wick like this, right? In this case, you opened here, came down here, and you closed here, right? But this means that you've already created that lower low, so sorry, that higher low. So at any given point, you could create like a tiny lower low, a higher low, and then start flipping up. You don't need to retrace all the way down to these sorts of areas, because this is what we're looking at, right? Does that make sense, Maui? Oh, no, not Maui. Was it Maui? Yeah. Yeah. So Connor, you were figuring out calculated profit. Yeah. I think half your lot sizes, just to kind of leave room for like one panel. And also a lot of the times our stops are actually not 100 pips, or like 120, 110, 120. All candles must have the wick either on the current or corresponding. It doesn't have to. Like, so many candles don't have wicks, like top wicks, bottom wicks, or whatever. But it's just we understand that if we have a top wick, it's more likely to drive in the same direction. If it doesn't have a top wick, there's just a chance that price will start reversing first, right? So it's just like if we see a candle with no top wick, we're just kind of like, that's not ideal. I'd like to wait for a candle with a top wick. Can I explain flips? Yeah, so okay, let's say how do we do this? Okay, cool. Let's say, oops, say you have like a candle like this, right? And then your next candle comes down first, right? Breaks the lows. Actually, let's draw this. So let's say your candle at this given point is like this, right? You don't have a top wick for this, right? At that point, we'll be looking to have a buy stop here or here, right? The flip would be here. The flip would be the flip of the candle, right? So we would have, do I have a buy stop thing? Some stops. Do I not have a buy stop? Okay, but anyways, yeah. So this would be the buy stop, and then if this candle flips, so in the case that this candle then changes from this to this, right, with the bottom wick, can I delete this? Yeah, so when this happens, right, this is our entry, and this is our entry for and then our stops will probably be at the bottom of this candle, because we're understanding that if the price starts driving down here, then there's a high chance that it's just going to break the lows and continue down, right? So that's the flip. Is gold popping at the moment? Not really. It's not really gone anywhere. I mean, it's gone up like a couple, like 20 pips or something. Yeah, so you see this? No top wick, right? So there's a high chance this candle might come back into this range, because what happened was this candle just did one massive push up. If it wants to continue pushing up, cool, it can, but usually when it comes to price action, you see this when you're going up, right? So this is just a retracement that might happen before you go up. And you'll see it as it continues. If it, like, there's only like 2 or 3 things that price can do. Studying the supply and demand course and DVS concepts, currently at 7% in my challenge. Thanks for the analysis. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, you see this, Maui? Like, or who was asking about wicks? Yeah, Maui, right? Like, look at this, right? You've come up, you've created a slight top wick, but now you're flipping, right? You're flipping because you need to create that higher low if you want to continue. This is just a 5 minute, but this applies to like every single time frame. But yeah, cool guys. This is basically the analysis I wanted to give. Yeah. If there aren't any more questions, I'm happy to just end it here. And we will be back tomorrow, right? As usual, 10:30 p.m. London. Amazing. Yeah, thank you, Connor. Thank you, Tom, for coming to the Zoom as well. I feel like having that little bit of interaction is just so much more meaningful. But yeah, just come with loads of questions. We have time to answer like questions until like I would say I give this kind of breakdown plus questions entire like an hour. So yeah, Maui, I've been asked like a couple times for private sessions. I don't know how much I would charge for like on an hourly basis for private sessions. I'm so busy. So especially with like work, right? So it's gonna be potentially quite expensive, but I'll look into if I get more questions and like more people asking in the future, maybe, but I'll only be able to do like a maximum of like 2 or 3 hours a week. So they'll be in demand. Do I try the same concepts from the 1 minute? I have been trying, but I would say it's difficult because the 1 minute gives you too much noise. So for example, right, 5 minute no top wick, and then you've come down. What does the 1 minute look like? Right, the 1 minute looks like, oh shit, you have no top wick for this candle, you have no top wick and bottom wick for this candle. What do you want to do? There's just so much noise. All of these candles, right? No top wick, no bottom wick, no top wick. Like, you're worried, right? With this, like, oh, does the 1 minute no top wick mean that we're gonna flip? But it didn't flip. It continued up, and then another no top wick. But it didn't flip again. It just continued. Like, there's so many things. Yeah, Kurt, if you need to annotate to ask questions, my guy, Zoom access is for you. Yeah. I would say the first thing to do, if anybody wants to ask questions or like kind of learn, is try the Zoom access first. It's like £20 a month. It's basically like £1 per session. So it's like I'm not using it as like a way to make money. I'm using it more as just to cover my time for the hourly for like each hour I'm doing. But it basically gives you access to jump on like Connor and Tom did and just ask questions. We had Jacob yesterday. We had what else did we have? We had Fernando yesterday as well. But yeah. Oh, gold is going up, right? But then it's the 1 minute time frame, and then if you actually look at what price is actually doing, this candle has moved a total of not bad actually, nearly 10 pips. For 11 p.m. London, it's not bad. If you see this flip, it might start coming down, breaking these lows. You might see a flip down to 43. Where did you sign up? If you just DM me on Discord, if you find me if anybody wants to join, just DM me on Discord and I'll send you the details. Like this month is kind of weird because we're trying to get an automatic payment system set up, so it's like a monthly subscription thing, but first month is just the manual payment. So just ping me on Discord. I don't know where you found me, Maui. Did you find me on Discord? Where'd you find the link for this? Or if I think as long as you have my Discord, you'll be able to find me. If not, if you look in like the general chat in the server, you might see me post occasionally as well. So just like ping me there. Or if you guys have Instagram, you can ping me on Instagram as well. It's EvolutionDVS is the handle for the Instagram, and then just ask me there and I'll send you the same thing. But Discord's usually better because I need to add you into the Discord channel, and once I do that, then you have access to the Zoom links, you have access to everything else. But yeah, but cool guys, I'm gonna end it here. Good session, right? Pretty straightforward analysis, but again, it's very dependent on price action. I would say be careful tomorrow, mainly because you've broken out of the range, but you have no daily bottom wick. Your kind of lower time frames on the hourly and everything is like slowing down quite a lot. So just be careful, yeah. And obviously these levels only apply for the short time, right? Like for the next couple hours. Once you get something else, like look, this is exactly what we were talking about just now, Mario, right? Like This could be easily a fake out, so closure back into this range, and you're looking to fill this range up, right? So yeah, just be careful. Trade with wicks if you guys are. Have a stop loss, and learn, right? Most importantly, learn from what his knowledge is telling him in terms of the markets and how we can take profits from it. Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you very much, guys, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night.